Hey guys, Chris here, back again from CNH Small Engine. Got another quick video here for you guys. We got a machine in here today, this morning over here, and I thought I'd do a quick, some kind of quick detailed video about this one right here. This is a Aaron's machine, produced by, unfortunately, it's produced by Husqvarna now, because Husqvarna is basically the biggest factory out there that produces machines out there in the United States. Even though this is a Aaron's branded machine right here for reference points, it has a self-propelled drive unit up front. This machine's quite beat out there. The guy looks like it's been using quite heavily out there. The front gear, or the front drive wheels, I should say, are almost totally worn down on one side. The other one is totally worn down to the point where it was actually cracked and split. You see that it's just totally bare on there for that. So this machine looks like it's quite used for some time out there for reference points. The machine has a Honda GCV 160 overhead cam engine on here as well too. It has the manual choke on here as well too. I personally like this kind of design where you can actually manually control the choke system on here versus the auto choke out there, because this is like a guaranteed way to keep your machine running out there. You can choke it every single time you want to start it up out there, and you don't have any kind of weird problems where something might get stuck on there for that. The reason why the guy brought the machine over to us was because of this problem right here. He turned the blade from a straight piece to a L piece. So you see right here, guys hit some kind of a pipe or rock in his yard. I honestly don't know, but the blade was severely bent on the one portion up here as well too. And after we took the blade off and we checked the actual crank on the bottom down here, go ahead and flip it up here for you. Show you what it looks like. Got a new blade on it right now. Anytime you have a bladed brakes on these machines, guys, put the old blade right next to it right here as well too. There you go. Let me see here. There's the old blade next to the new one. Anytime you have a blade that bends, gets all bent up like that, guys, you have to check out the lower portion of the crank down there, especially the blade adapter on here, because unfortunately these blade adapters can crack and possibly break as well too, because you're sending a sudden shock force up through the entire crankshaft on here. So you got to replace the actual blade itself on here. You may have to replace the blade adapter. Your crankshaft might also need to be replaced, because unfortunately you have a 50-50 chance of the actual crank becoming damaged and wobbling underneath it. What happens is the crank gets bent, and the crankshaft may need to be replaced in some instances out there if the shock is severe enough. And the other thing is, this one has a Honda style engine, or I should say it is a Honda style engine. Sorry about that. I keep on thinking it's a Chinese clone engine, because we work on a boatload of those. But this one has the Honda engine on here specifically for that. And they have a steel keyway in the actual crank on the top of the engine up here as well too. You have a steel key, and you have a aluminum flywheel on this one right here. So it's always a good idea to verify and check the keyway is okay. Check to make sure the key is okay on the top portion of the crank up here. Make sure the key's good, and also make sure the flywheel slot where the actual keyway goes there to time the ignition system is okay as well too, because if not, your ignition can become retarded or advanced too much out there. You honestly don't know what condition it's going to be until you actually take off the top portion. It's a relatively simple procedure. Take off the 3 bolts on top here, get that thing out of there. Get the gas tank out of the way. Just make sure everything's out of the way, so you have access to the top bolt and nut area on top of the crank on here. Just take the top nut off, and you can check out the key down inside it. If it looks like it's maybe knocked out of maybe 1 or 2 degrees out there, I do strongly advise and recommend to replace the key, the actual key, and possibly if the flywheel is damaged, it's probably also going to have to be replaced as well too. This one, the flywheel looked okay, no problem. The keyway looked good on the actual crankshaft itself, and also the keyway on the flywheel is also looking good. So all 3 looked good. The keyway itself on the flywheel, the key itself, and also the crankshaft coming out of the top of the engine up here as well too. So the top of the engine is good to go, and the bottom engine is good to go as well too. So this machine would be ready to go back to the customer with no issues as it is right now, because you always have to make sure on the top end and the bottom end are both okay, because if they're not, you might have problems with the engine's going to be vibrating down here from the wobble of the crank shaft, or on the top end, if the keyway is knocked out of position by only a few degrees, your engine is going to have snapping back of the recoil unit. Anytime you try to pull your recoil over, you try to pull your recoil unit up here, and it keeps on kicking back and kicking back on you. That's a telltale sign that your flywheel is out of time, right there, maybe by a few degrees. It doesn't matter, but it is definitely out of position, and you're going to have to check out your flywheel, the key, and also the top portion of the crank right here. More than likely, the main thing that will be damaged, if it is on this style of engine, will be the actual flywheel itself, because the flywheel is a softer metal. It is aluminum versus the key, which is steel, and also the crankshaft is also steel. So if something's broken on the top, it's more than likely it's going to be the flywheel itself on this style of a Honda engine out there for reference point. So anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot about that, feel free to leave me a message here, and I'll have a quick response to you if you have a basic, some kind of basic troubleshooting questions about this machine as the problem I was describing here today. I'll see you guys, and have a nice day.